Do you believe the dead can return, not as ghosts, but as living, breathing people? Tonight, I bring you one of the most unsettling and baffling mysteries ever recorded in Africa, the story of the girl who walked out of her own grave. Our journey takes us back to the late 1940s to a quiet, rural community nestled near the Niger River. This was a place steeped in tradition, where the line between the world of the living and the realm of the spirits was not just believed, but deeply respected and feared. It all began with a young girl named Amara. At just 12 years old, she was known throughout the village for her bright spirit and kind heart. She was a child of laughter, always eager to help the elders fetch water or share freshly picked mangoes with the younger children. But one day, a strange and relentless fever took hold of her. Her worried family tried everything. They took her to traditional herbalists, then to prayer houses, seeking any cure they could find. But nothing worked. On a cold morning, as the harmattan winds swept through the village, Amara passed away. The community was heartbroken. They mourned the loss of such a vibrant young soul. Following their customs, Amara's family buried her in a small plot behind her father's compound. A simple grave marked the end of her short life. The village grieved, and then, as it must, life slowly began to move on. But that peace would last for only 3 days. On the third night after Amara's burial, an old woman named Mama Ifeoma was startled by a soft, persistent knocking at her door. Tap, tap. It was late, far too late for any ordinary visitor. Cautiously, she unlatched the door and pulled it open. What she saw made her hands slip from the frame in sheer shock. Standing on her doorstep, covered in dust, barefoot, and wrapped in the very same white cloth she had been buried in, was Amara. She was alive, but silent. Her eyes were empty, devoid of the sparkle they once held. And then she spoke, her voice a quiet whisper that shattered the night's stillness. "Mama, I am hungry." Mama Ifeoma's scream was so piercing it woke the entire village. The scene was one of pure chaos. Some people fainted on the spot. Others dropped to their knees, desperately praying. Many simply turned and fled, their shouts echoing through the night. "The dead has risen! The dead has risen!" But the girl, this returned Amara, wasn't a monster. She wasn't violent or threatening. She walked like a living person. She breathed. She blinked. When offered food, she ate it. Yet no one could comprehend what was happening. How could she be alive again after being pronounced dead and buried for 3 days? The village was thrown into a state of confusion and fear. The chiefs, elders, and spiritual leaders gathered for an emergency meeting that lasted through the entire night. They debated endlessly. Was this a miracle? A divine resurrection? Had she been mistakenly buried alive, a victim of a tragic error? Or was this something far more sinister, a spirit, an otherworldly entity that had returned from the grave wearing Amara's face? The questions were terrifying, and the answers were nowhere to be found. For 2 weeks, this strange version of Amara lived among them again. She was quiet, almost unnaturally so. She seemed distant, lost in a world of her own, and the laughter that once defined her was gone. She never smiled, never played, never spoke more than a few words. They didn't know whether to embrace her or shun her. And then, just as suddenly as she had appeared, she was gone. She walked into the trees and simply vanished. This time, forever, frantic search parties were organized. They combed the forest for days, looking for any sign of her, but they found nothing. No trace, no footprints, not a single thread from her cloth. It was as if the earth had swallowed her whole for a second time. To this day, in that small corner of Africa, the old villagers still whisper the story of Amara, the returned girl. The tale has become a local legend, a chilling piece of their history. The theories about what truly happened are as varied as the people who tell the story. Some hold on to the most logical explanation. She was mistakenly buried alive and somehow managed to escape her grave, only to succumb to her ordeal or get lost in the wild. But others are convinced that what came back was not Amara. They believe a spirit, for reasons unknown, inhabited her body, walked among them for a short time, and then returned to whatever realm it came from. The truth, whatever it may be, remains buried in time. So, what do you think happened to Amara? Was she a victim of a terrible mistake who miraculously survived? Or did something truly supernatural occur on that night many decades ago? Was it a miracle, or was it something else wearing her skin? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'll be reading every single one. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the unknown. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most chilling mysteries.